guys. I'm Dylan Chisholm, and I was actually thinking about this and really just thanking God that it hasn't been much worse for me. Honestly, I had a really hard time thinking about a time that, um, I really saw my race, my ethnicity, my blackness as an obstacle. But then one thing came to mind. It was actually when I was in high school. I was a senior at the time, and our theater department was doing auditions for the one act play. It was just a play of just one act, not a full musical or anything. It was a competition that we did in the fall, and basically by this point in time, I would say that by my senior year in high school, I was the strongest male actor that we had in our department. And that's not me exaggerating or being prideful either. That's just where we were. And I actually shared this story with somebody that said, oh, well, that's theater. Casting is different. And I get that. I was in drama and musical theater all through high school. I get that completely. The thing was, we were a very diverse school, and we didn't really have volume like that in our drama department, to where we had the luxury of casting not only on talent but also on appearance. We really just did not have that luxury. But when the time came to cast the lead for this play, a white boy from my grade, it was his first time acting with us in his whole high school career. He was cast in the role, and I as his understudy, because the director felt that he fit the character's aesthetic better, because the play was supposed to be in France. And this, by the way, was in fall of 2015. And so, I don't know if you know, but not 3 months before this, August 6th of 2015, Hamilton was released, or premiered on Broadway. Previews were in July of that year, premiered to the public live on Broadway in August. So we're coming off the literal coattails of a cast full of black founding fathers, including a black Lafayette, and a white boy was cast in this role instead of myself, because it was supposed to be portraying a Frenchman. So I personally was livid with this, and I simmered on it, but I also prayed on it. I decided 3 years prior to this, in 2012, that I was going to give my life to Jesus. So in this moment, I decided to give my anger to Jesus. I prayed about it. I wrestled with it. I chose to ignore the people that were telling me, oh, that should have been you, that should have been you. Chose to ignore them, just told them, hey, the director has made his decision, and that's that. And I, as the understudy, also memorized the lines for both of our roles. And so when the time came for the deadline to be off book, to be done memorizing our roles for just the first half of the production, I had fully memorized my role and the lead role, because I was the understudy. And the lead had not memorized pretty much even his first scene. He was very busy with his part-time job. I was also working a part-time job, but one thing about me, I memorize my lines. If you give me lines, I'm gonna memorize them. So I memorized all of ours. And so I was told to replace him in the lead role, and he took a minor role that had less lines, and it was less pressure on him with his schedule. And so this, I think, was one of the first times that I really had to wrestle with just actually being, held back from what I felt like my potential was due to my color. So with that, really, my own decision to put Jesus at the center of what I do, what I think, what I choose to respond to situations, that really was what got me through, because I was really sitting in pre-calculus, unable to focus, simmering on my anger, and then I had to choose to just pray through that, and just really trust that God was in control in that time, and He was, and He would have been even if I had stayed in that minor role or supporting role, and so really just the fact that I was able to give that to God, that made me stronger in my walk, I would say.